What's going on, everybody? It's your boy J Main, back checking in with the people, back with another video. And today we got some more layoffs, folks. Like the gaming industry, the tech world, the layoffs in 2024 have been at a crazy, alarming rate. Now, layoffs are not something new. This isn't a foreign concept. But in years prior, and when we talk about comparing the numbers, the layoffs are crazy. It's like every other day, there's some gaming studio announcing layoffs. Every other day, there's another tech company announcing layoffs. Could it be that they overhired during COVID? Possibly. Could it be that AI is here and is here to stay and they don't need as many people working? Possibly. Could it be that these people just don't know how to manage their budgets properly and this is the result rather than less bonuses from the CEOs and things like that? Definitely all possible factors. But PlayStation is in the headlines again with layoffs. We know Bungie had their layoffs prior. Now some other PlayStation studios are being hit. And we're going to talk about it. We got statements from Jim Ryan. We got statements from Herman Holst. Let's break it down. So from Jim Ryan, now I'm not going to read this whole statement. You know, you kind of get the gist of it, that they laid off 900 people, 8%. But there are some things that I highlighted that's going to give us a little bit more details on what can we expect going forward and what's going on. So with Jim Ryan saying they envision reducing their headcount by about 900 people or 8%, this will impact employees all across SIE regions, Americas, EMEA, Japan, APAC. Several PlayStation studios are affected. For those in the US, all impacted employees will be notified today. In the UK, it is proposed that PlayStation Studios' London studio will close in its entirety. Now, not a lot of people are familiar with London studios, but if you were a fan of like the PlayStation Eye toy back in the day, the Getaway, which was, I think, some of their best work that they put out on the PS2 and to date. They also had SingStar games. Like those games always came out and they had a long shelf life. Like they were making those games deep into like next generations for previous generations. They also worked on PlayStation Home. Bring PlayStation Home back, PlayStation. That's if you want some more revenue and some money, bring back PlayStation Home. You're missing out. And then they also worked on some VR projects. Now, Blood and Truth was a VR game that they did work on. I played it. I thought it was good, but you can clearly tell that it was held back by the previous hardware. So I definitely did want to see what they could do with the new PlayStation VR headset. But unfortunately, that ain't happening. They were reportedly working on a live service multiplayer game. They shared some concept art for that game, but we never really actually got to see what it played like. We never got to see any gameplay. We never even got to see like them officially announce the game. It was just always something in development, and we never really heard from it, since they showed the concept art. So none of that is going to be coming to fruition because they are done. London Studios is gone. Next up, they are announced that there will be reductions in Fire Sprite Studio. Now, this studio, they bought recently, but they haven't done much as well. Like they had worked recently on Horizon Call of the Mountain, which was a VR game in conjunction with Guerrilla Games. And, that had got good reviews. I wouldn't say it was anything mind-blowing. It wasn't taking, something that they were saying took VR to the next level. And then they're also doing work on Star Citizen as well. But other than that, they haven't announced anything new as well. They might be working on something else, but they didn't get fully closed. They just have a reduction in staff. So maybe they were working on a few projects and some of those weren't working out. So now they're trying to streamline the studio and, refocus everything. They got 265 employees as of 2021. So for them not to have projects in the works, I wouldn't believe that. And the rumor is that they are working on multiple games. So now it's just time to see what it is, see what they've been working on. Of course, Jim Ryan talked about this being difficult times for the studio and difficult times for people getting laid off. It's crazy because if you look at the thumbnail that I posted, Jim Ryan was recently at London Studios during his farewell tour. He's getting up out of there in I think like March or April. And they threw him a party. About 5 days ago, they threw him a party. And today he sends them an email that their whole studio is gone. Whole studio finished. That's how cutthroat this industry is, man. This is why I always tell people these companies not your friend. I know you probably hear it, but you're going to need to learn. They're not your friend. They will fire you when they see fit. And they will do it in the most ruthless way. You throw a party for the boss, on Monday, by Thursday, you are packing your desk. Crazy. Now, moving on to Herman Holst, he kind of echoes some of the similar sentiments about it being a difficult time, but he goes into a little bit more about some of the thinking and the future planning of PlayStation Studios and what they need to do to help rectify the situation that they're having to go through right now. He talked about some of the US based studios with Insomniac Games and Naughty Dog actually having some layoffs that took place. Now, what I take from this is that I take that it's a lot of the live service initiative that didn't come to fruition that they thought it would, and they have to scale back not only on the projects, but you don't need all of those people if they're not going to be working on all of those live service games. It was reported that they had scaled back from like 12 to 6 live service games that are expected to be out in 2026 and beyond. Prior to that, a few years ago, they were trying to do 12 live service games by 2025. So that just shows you how much of a scale back. They cut that in half, and now it's actually even pushed further out. So it's not even 2025 no more. It's 2026 and beyond that they're trying to have at least 6. Now, they're having some great success with Helldivers, but let's see what happens next. We know that Naughty Dog had to cancel Factions. Deviation, I believe, was working on something that had to get canceled. You know, Insomniac Games from the leaks apparently were working on a multiplayer Spider-Man Spider-Verse game that apparently got canceled. So a lot of that stuff being scaled back, the studios, they gotta take hits, and that's where the hits are gonna come in at. A lot of people will say, "Oh, Insomniac Games, they sold 10 million on Spider-Man," and yeah, but there's people working there that aren't, they aren't needed anymore for projects going forward. You think a lot of the layoffs from Insomniac are coming from the people that are actively working on Spider-Man 3 or Wolverine? I doubt it. It's not that. I think it's other things. Same goes for Naughty Dog. Guerrilla was a studio that Jim Ryan didn't mention, but Guerrilla is also rumored to be working on a multiplayer Horizon game. So I wonder if that project has seen some delay or has seen some scaling back with Guerrilla receiving reductions. Herman Hall says PlayStation 5 is in its 4th year, and we are at the stage where we need to step back and look at what our business needs. Hint, hint, games, motherfucker. They need games. That's it. Games is what you need. But at the same time, our industry has experienced continuing and fundamental change, which affects how we all create and play games. Delivering the immersive, narrative-driven stories that PlayStation Studios is known for at the quality bar that we aspire to requires a reevaluation of how we operate. Ooh. What do we have here? A reevaluation of how they operate on those narrative-driven, immersive story games at PlayStation. I don't think this is anything new. I think this has been something that has been at the forefront of PlayStation's mind for a long time now, especially now that we've seen them leaks come out and they saying the Spider-Man games is up to almost $300 million in terms of development. We knew that these budgets were only going to get bigger and bigger if you are increasing the fidelity or hiring these big blockbuster actors or trying to have the top of the line graphics. That's going to happen. But I think they have already been in the works of trying to soften the blow with some of those budgets by bringing in more revenue. Now we see the profit margins they announced have been coming down. It's not like these budgets are getting so crazy to the point that they're not making money or games are not seeing a return. It's that the profits, aren't as big as they once used to be because the budgets are so big. So these games aren't flopping. It's just that PlayStation wants more profits. They ain't in this for the fun of it. The business side, they want to see more money. So that's why I think you've seen them have that strong initiative of live service games. I just think they might have went a little bit too crazy. 12 is a little bit too crazy by 2025. Like that was a little bit insane. But what I don't want to see is them not try because one, I want multiplayer games, and two, those multiplayer games are going to bring in some nice revenue if you do it right. They got to figure something out with the budget. I think that's like the first course of action that's something that they can immediately do is work on those budgets. And then you got the live service games. And then they're talking about PC and mobile. I don't think day and date is happening, but I do think more games are going to be coming to PC. I do think that the window for games coming to PC might get smaller. I don't think day and date will happen. And then mobile as well. They want to get games on mobile because that's another stream of revenue coming in. He says they looked at their studios and their portfolio, evaluating projects in various stages of development, and they decided that some of these projects will not move forward. So yeah, I think this is, again, a lot of the live service games that will not move forward, being that they scaled back from 12 to 6 within the next 3 or 4 years. I see that a lot of this 900 is a lot of the live service projects and initiatives going on. Let me know down in the comment section what y'all think about this. More layoffs probably to come this year. This ain't the end of it. And rate the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll catch y'all at my next one. Peace.